Kia ora Star Wars fans, welcome to Middle Aged Kiwi Man collecting Star Wars figures. In this video I want to do a tribute to the Clone Commanders, specifically the Phase 2 Clone Commanders, because I think there's some wonderful designs there. They look after some wonderful clone battalions and just want to check some of those out. Just really quickly before we do, on a slightly serious note, there has been a big cyclone that's affected parts of New Zealand, mostly north of where I am. We've been fine, we've just had some heavy rain. Thank you to everybody who's reached out, thank you Randy. But just wanted to acknowledge viewers in Auckland, Hawke's Bay, Gisborne, Tarawhiti area. Just hope you're okay, hope your families are okay. Yeah, stay safe everyone. We also just had tonight a bit of an earthquake. It was a magnitude 6 earthquake. It was centered a few kilometers away from here, so we got a bit of a shake, but we're all good. I've invested in all those action figure stands, so only 6 of the figures fell over. But all the serious stuff out the way, let's get in and just have a look at some clones. And I had to start off with Captain Rex of the 501st, and here he is. This is a vintage collection figure. It is BC 182. It's actually just a repack of the Captain Rex figure that came out in the 3.75 inch Black Series line a few years ago. It is not a great figure, unfortunately. He has swivel hips, which is, you know, that's pretty bad. His helmet isn't removable and some of his proportions are a bit wonky, but he's Captain Rex. He's Captain Rex. We actually have 2 Captain Rex figures in the vintage collection, and you could argue that neither of them are quite right. So this one is as depicted in the Bad Batch Season 1 with his poncho, which is really cool. His hair just looks a bit long. I think that's the main criticism. Some really fantastic paint deco with all his kill marks and stuff like that. That is BC 208. And then the one I showed you loose before, BC 182, and there he is. This Clone Wars get up. And who knows, maybe we'll see a live action Captain Rex in the Ahsoka show. We have 2 versions of the 501st Legion Clone Trooper in the vintage collection. First one is VC 60 from Revenge of the Sith, and the next one is BC 240 from the Clone Wars. Okay, next up we have Commander Cody, who leads the 2112th Battalion, which is General Kenobi's attachment. And you can see there, this figure here, this is an older figure, this is from the Saga line, so this isn't the vintage collection one. You can see his chest, or his torso area is very yellowed. It's actually not too bad a figure. I know the vintage collection one is better. I definitely prefer these Saga 2112th Troopers to the vintage collection one, but that is Commander Cody. And there is Commander Cody in the vintage collection, and that card is fantastic. I really like this card. It is when he's being issued the Order 66 directive from, of course, Revenge of the Sith. And he comes with a little hologram lollipop of Darth Sidious, aka Emperor Palpatine. And you can see there on the back it's VC19, and you can also see on the back there that it has the image of the Saga version of Commander Cody, which is the one that I have. So there we go. Next on my clone commanders is Commander Gree, and he leads the 41st Elite on Kashyyyk. I think it's worth pointing out that these Kashyyyk troopers are way underscaled, and they definitely need an update for the vintage collection. And Commander Gree is available in the vintage collection, but I don't have him. I believe this is the Legacy Collection version, which, if not the same, is very similar to the one that is packed in the vintage collection. Anyway, it's pretty nice. I like the mixture of camouflage and green. He's got some pretty decent paint apps on him, and he's a cool character in Revenge of the Sith and gets beheaded by Yoda, so yeah, pretty cool, and I like the camouflage of his troopers. So that is Commander Gree. And here we have Commander Bakara, and he led the Galactic Marines on Maigito. And Galactic Marines, another trooper that this is a 30th anniversary collection when they made the Galactic Marine. It hasn't been updated since, and that would be a nice one to get in the vintage collection. It's got the swivel hips, and this Commander Bakara has a slightly yellowed torso, and I'm not entirely sure which version this is. I think it's the older Revenge of the Sith version, so I'm pretty sure he came out in Revenge of the Sith and maybe later on in the Legacy collection. Another figure that has yet to be done in the vintage collection, and I think it'd be quite nice. But anyway, that is Commander Bakara. Next up is Commander Grey from the Bad Batch, and Commander Grey was associated with Deepa Billila, can't remember how you say her name, one of the Jedi in the first episode of the Bad Batch, and he commanded white clone troopers, and these are older clone troopers. I think that's the vintage collection one. But anyway, those are being updated in the vintage collection on an Andor card, so really looking forward to them. And this guy is from the vintage collection. I don't have a carded version, but he was in that Bad Bat 4-pack. So that is Commander Grey. And the plain white clone trooper we have in our collections at the moment is VC-15. And it's not a great one, and as you can see the helmet is going sort of green inside the bubble there. So here is Commander Wolf. He was actually the commander of the 104th Battalion, known as the Wolf Pack in the Clone Wars, but I've got him here with a couple of 41st Elite Clone Troopers because they're all the same grey and they look very cool together. And Clone Commander Wolf is VC-168, and the 41st Elite Corps Clone Trooper is VC-145. Okay, here are the Shock Troopers. Now there are different commanders associated with the Shock Troopers, so there was Fox, Thorn, and I'm pretty sure this is Thire, T-H-I-R-E. So yeah, don't know too much about him. I wonder actually if he's a bit of a Hasbro invention, but let me know in the comments if you know more about this guy. And unfortunately I do not have a vintage collection Shock Trooper on card. It was one of the very first vintage collection figures I bought, but I bought a beautiful card and opened it. I'm a different collector now. And here we have Commander Bly, who leads the 327th Star Corps, and of course they were the ones who killed Aayla Secura on Felucia during Revenge of the Sith, so another very cool commander, and another one that could use an update. I'm pretty sure this one was bought out in the Revenge of the Sith line and maybe came back later in one of the other lines. It's very out of date and he'd look really cool on a vintage collection card. And finally here's Commander Neo. So he was in charge of the 91st Reconnaissance Corps, and he killed a Jedi during Order 66 as well. Blew up her speeder. This is Ahsoka's 332nd Corps, and they don't have a commander at present. These are the only figures available in the vintage collection, and so if they had a commander it would probably be Commander Vaughn, or Captain Vaughn I think it is, who basically has a Commander Cody style helmet but with the Ahsoka faceprint. So there are my clone commanders. Let me know in the comments which is your favourite. Also let me know which ones you think should be made in the vintage collection. Obviously, you know, they all could be, but what are your priorities for vintage collection? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm middle-aged Kiwi man collecting Star Wars figures. Ka kite, and I'll see you on another video.